Okay, this is part 4. I'll wrap this one up with some final pictures of my Camino. But the interesting thing is, as I was coming up my hill, because I'm going to put in a 10K day today, I was coming up my hill, all of a sudden I saw the tail ends of a couple snakes. And then, so I'm taking my camera out to video them. I'm thinking they're going in, and all of a sudden I catch it to the left of my eye, and he's come back out towards the walkway, so I backed up a bit and gave it its space. They're just garter snakes. So there was nothing really life-changing about this Camino. In fact, don't go there with expectations. Yeah, yes, I had a lot of quiet moments along the way. Yes, I had moments when a certain song would come on my playlist, and I would remember my husband, and tears would just come down my eyes. And then I had a lot of very, good moments and personal challenges and things that I did. But overall, I think once I got to Santiago de Compostela, a couple of the ladies were going on to Festeri, and I had wished I had an open ticket because I still wanted to continue to go. So this time on this Camino, we're doing the coastal route. The three of us will continue on to Festeri, and one of the ladies has already done that, but she wants to do it again. So that's really great. So I'm looking forward to that because I felt that I didn't complete it. It took me 5 years for me to realize what I accomplished, because I'd never done any kind of long distance walking like that. And I was hearing people, you did it, you accomplished this. What a way to do a trip and whatnot. And, and I didn't have doubts that I could do it. But you know what? Not only did I do it, but remember I said about those blisters? I did it with those blisters. And it was the second last day of coming into Santiago. We started to get some rain again, and I had 2 pairs of shoes. One pair was Gore-Tex shoes for when it was raining. And when I put those shoes on, I started to get more blisters. So that's when I realized for sure it was the shoes that caused my blisters, because my feet were getting too hot. So it's not for everybody. But now I'm just having 1 pair of shoes, and I'm actually doing a lot of walking in my hiking sandals in bare feet. I can do 7-8K in my bare feet, and I'm not getting blisters. I've never gotten blisters on this new pair of hiking sandals. They're Chivas, and I've been walking on them, hiking them in bare feet. So they'll come with me because I'm taking the coastal route. So I'm looking forward to that. But anyways, I'll wrap it up with some of the, I've got the sun behind me here. I'll wrap it up with some pictures. The other thing I want to show, and I'll take pictures of it, is when you're on the Camino, you get the pilgrim passport. And if you want the Compostela, that's the certificate saying that you've completed the Camino. As mentioned in part 3, there was another big hill to climb. Lethbridge has been talked about as being just as tough of a climb as the Pyrenees. The little village sits at the 1,300-meter altitude. I walked under this highway system on our way for the stop for the night. The next day, I started the journey to do this big climb, and little did I know I would take a look back and see where we were at that spot, walking under the highway system. We still have a long way to go before getting to the top. What I noticed on the Camino, when you are walking uphill and you think you see the top, you walk a little further only to see that the path continues upwards. I think the look on my face in this photo says it all. The final stage had mixed emotions. I had easily adapted to the relaxed environment of being in Spain, not having to worry about work or responsibilities, being in the moment for myself, processing what emotions came up, and planning my path forward. I wasn't ready to go home. For a while, it seemed like the end wouldn't happen. Now the end was at our doorstep. As we approach the last 100 kilometers, the Camino vibe changes and becomes much busier. Many people come to walk the last 100 kilometers as that is all you need to get your Compostela. The excitement in our group was building to get to the cathedral in Santiago. For many, they would be heading home the next day. Some of us stayed and took a bus to Festeri for our rest days before heading back home. And then there were the two ladies who continued on. It was bittersweet leaving, wishing we could have lasted a little bit longer. Prior to leaving Calgary, I wasn't sure I wanted to do this walk. But I'm glad I did it, not really knowing what to expect. Was it life-changing? No, but it certainly did give me the time to mentally decompress and start my path forward with a clearer mind. Our last day was a short day. We took our time, stopped and had lunch, and then got together and did our final walk into Santiago. We arrived in Santiago on a rainy day. There was restoration work being done on the cathedral, but the square was full of many pilgrims, excited and exhausted for finishing their Caminos. Walking 800 kilometers hadn't really set in yet for me. The blisters were doing much better and starting to heal. When I look back at this moment, I'm not sure how I did it, as I had at least a 2-inch round blister on the outside of both my heels. In fact, it would take 5 years before I really truly gave myself kudos for completing this task. We spent the rest of the day in Santiago, and a few of us went to Festeri. The Pilgrim Passport is the document that you use to collect stamps along the way. This is your proof that you walked the Camino. They're stamped and dated. I had 2 passports for this trip, as often we would have 2 stamps a day. We spent the rest of the day in Santiago, and a few of us went to Finisterre to spend our rest days. We did the walk from our rooms to the lighthouse, stopping at the 0 marker. This marker is often the final stop for many pilgrims walking the way of St. James. Instead of beautiful sunrises that I've seen along the way, I was finally able to see another sunset. It was my first sunset since the Pyrenees. I was able to dip my feet in the Atlantic Ocean from the other side. Sadly, our time has come to an end, and we will soon have to head back into Santiago to catch our flights and start making our way home. 7 strangers, 40 days, 800 kilometers. 3 of us will continue on to walk the second Camino together. Let's see what happens on the 10th anniversary if we're all able to make it and have a reunion.